Welcome to this special edition of 10Eighty's LinkedIn Live series. And I'm delighted to say today I'm joined by Alexander Fahie from Ethical Angel. And what I'd like to do, Alexander, just first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself before we talk about the business.
Sure. Hi, Michael. Thank you very much for hosting me today. Big follower of your podcast, so it's great to be included on this one. My background, I'm a technologist. I worked in finance for a number of years and did a few companies in the UK and abroad. And in 2018, I set up Ethical Angel with a mission to find a way to build something that was both valuable for businesses and charities. And this is where we've ended up.
So where did the idea come from?
So, Alexander? It was an itch that needed scratching. I'd done quite a lot of work with charities as a trustee and various other roles, and there's always a lot of stuff that we needed. And I felt that there must be a way that we could turn that stuff, those things that we could have done to help us grow our charity or to support beneficiaries more, by calling on the support of the private sector. But what we found was that the private sector were primarily interested in a very particular type of volunteering, or it was quite difficult to get money out of them for us to then go off and pay for the things that we wanted. So that's why I thought there must be a better way.
And so tell me a little bit about the technology then. So because are you not putting sort of people who want to work in charities with charities? Give me some sense around how the technology works.
Okay, well, Ethical Angel is a behavior change accelerator. We combine learning with purpose to deliver the skills that people need in order to be great leaders, for example, in a way that supports charities with the things that they need. So the way that the application works, the way that we support that, is we start off by understanding what a business is looking to target in terms of their behavioral objectives for different people. Ethical Angel then creates projects that would satisfy that learning through experience, and we make them available for charities all around the world. I think we've got charities now in 42, it's either 42 or 52 countries, who then for free are able to benefit from those projects. They get something delivered, so it could be new brand guidelines, it could be a workshop on equality, diversity, and inclusion, and a variety of many other things. But the learners then obviously get the opportunity to practice those behaviors that their business is looking to target.
And where did you find those charities then? I mean, if you've got them in, let's say, 42 or 52 countries, how did you collect them?
So, I mean, really through word of mouth. I think we recognize that there's a lot asked of charities at the moment. They're always looking to have to find the new grant application opportunities. There's a lot of information coming to them. So we thought if we can make it as easy as possible to tell a charity exactly what we're able to offer them, and then make it even easier for them just to get it, we could grow that audience quite quickly, and that seems to have come about. So we've now got thousands of organizations covering just about every vertical you can imagine within the charity sector.
And stating the blindingly obvious, it doesn't cost the charities anything. So they just sign up, they put themselves on the platform, and presumably make a case as to what it is they're looking for help and support on. Yes?
They don't even need to do that. So for a charity, we just ask them to tell us a bit about what they do. We then can approve them or support them through accessing the application. But as soon as they're on, we tell them what is available for them to get. And if they tell us that they want that project, a CEO mentorship project, or if they're looking for something else maybe related to fundraising, they want to do an audience analysis project, they just click the ones that they want. And then a learner on the other side of the application who's been targeted with certain behaviors will be completing those projects either individually or as a team, and in doing so deliver the causes with what they want, and the learners with what they need.
And I want to come to the learners shortly, but staying with your clients, I mean, now's the chance to do some name dropping. And what I'd like is both the big boys and the smally, wild and wacky ones. So from your perspective, what charities can we name, and maybe the ones that most of our listeners haven't heard of?
Sure. I mean, there are some really wonderful causes. I mean, they're charities, but the legal structure for a charity changes as soon as you leave the United Kingdom. So you might find that they're called something slightly different, but they still operate as we would recognise charity in the UK. So we call them causes once we sort of leave the UK. And they cover everything from sort of dolphins and whales in the Hebrides through to elephant sanctuaries in Africa to youth groups in Brighton. There's some very big names in there. I mean, NSPCC, Cancer Research UK, the Scouts are probably some of the bigger causes that your audience would probably recognise. But we're also very keen to support the smaller ones that don't often get a look in when they're making applications to businesses for either funding or volunteering support.
Okay, and now turning to your corporate clients who are using that, can you tell me a little bit about them? Sort of who are they? And again, it's a good chance now to name drop to say which organisations have signed up.
Great, thanks, Michael. I mean, we're sector agnostic, so we have business or corporate clients across just about every area that you can imagine in business, whether they are some of the biggest sort of drinks manufacturers in the world through to some of the biggest financial companies in the world. But we also have sort of a range of organizations in between. And I think so things like sort of there's startups that are in gaming, there might be marketing companies, we have universities that are using application, and then also departments in government. So they're a real cross-section in terms of vertical or what they do. But there is something that unifies all of them. And that is that they tend to have a point of contact or a head of leadership or learning and development within these organizations who recognizes the importance of fostering a fantastic environment for learning for across their business. And so we tend to be more aligned to businesses where there is this type of innovative, excited culture for learning than a particular a particular vertical.
So not traditional, is that what you're saying there? In the nicest way, Alexander.
I think there's definitely of course a requirement for traditional learning. I mean, Ethical Angels Behavior Change Accelerator is built around the premise that the best way to learn something is by doing it, and so that's my experience from being on the receiving end of learning programs. There's countless lectures and seminars and workshops that you can attend, but until you actually practice for yourself and overcome any sort of imposter syndromes or anything sort of personally holding you back, and just get to do something and then be told that actually you've done that well, or these are areas that you can build on, the learning isn't comprehensive enough. So yes, I don't want to knock traditional learning development. Of course it has a place, but I think as we move into a new chapter of workforces and how workforces are operating, the opportunities to try something new, perhaps something more experiential, something more immersive, something more engaging, something more personalized, is prevalent. And hopefully that leads to organizations being able to retain their top talent, being able to develop different types of people for different types of roles in a way which leads to better businesses for everyone involved.
And I suppose we should say you're a commercial entity, so these corporate clients are paying for this service. Do you want to say a little bit about the fee structure? Because I wouldn't want to mislead people that there's an element of commercial to this.
Absolutely. I mean, we have standard pricing, which is based on headcount. How many learners, which is basically a license that you're putting through the program at any given time, and that's £150 per learner per month. So very bog standard. What that gives you access to as a business is the world's largest compendium of experiential learning projects that are targeted towards particular behaviors, but also give the opportunity to engage and support charities. But of course, what it's really paying for is all the underlying infrastructure that makes everything work. And a large component of that is education and promotion to the core sector or the charities within the network. We want to make sure that they are getting the best out of the application and out of the learning that your people want to do.
Okay, so the world's largest learning compendium, Alexander, no small claim there. One of my colleagues has asked us about our experience of Ethical Angels. So let me tell a story in the first instance that a while ago, we did a piece of work with the credit card at MBNA, and I know that Paul Cork, our corporate sponsor, there is on the LinkedIn Live today. And as part of the leadership development program, in order to embed the learning, just how you've described, we invited a number of local charities in the Chester area to display their wares. This is pre-technology, Alexander. This is where they literally came on. We had a bazaar, and the people on the program went round the bazaar and then picked what charity as a team they wanted to work with. And it ranged from things like allotment societies, local radio, certainly an adoption society. Remember that. And I'm going to make the case for, it was, I think, a really interesting experience for the individuals, not just because of, as you've already said, about mission and purpose, but actually learning in a very different environment. And I always tell this story that MBNA was owned by Bank of America, very corporate, with a very well-established management development program. And these people have been through those programs. And I remember at the very first meeting they had, I think it was the Allotment Society, they said to the guy, said, what's on your agenda? As you would start the meeting. And the chairman said, what's an agenda? So that ability to say, we're in a very different environment now, and we have to behave differently. So that was my first story. The second story, how I came to find Ethical Angel, is that one of my clients, Martin, was job seeking, and we helped him find that job at Ethical Angel. He's your COO, I believe. And as a result of that conversation, he told me about the platform, and therefore I linked it to the work we did with MBNA, and then decided this would be a partnership we wanted to embark on. And I hope, as a business, we always practice what we preach. So not only do we offer it to our clients, we've been using the tool ourselves. So me personally, I'm coaching the CEO of a special needs charity in Wales. And she's truly an inspirational woman to work with. I know Shannon, our business development or marketing person, has been working with a charity on evaluating their website. So I can speak with some practice that we've done quite a lot of work, and we're about to embark on a team project working with the Scouts and helping develop their volunteers and their facilitators as they work with a new group of children. So I can speak very positively about Ethical Angel. So not just that we think it's a good thing to do for learning, it's something we do for ourselves. So tell us a little bit more about the technology. So we say that learners can sort of A, identify the things they want to learn, and B, link it to good causes. Can you, in layman's terms, Alexandra, of course, but can you just tell me how the platform does that?
So it recognizes that we are all human and that we're all individual. And what it's looking to understand is based on the targeted behaviors of the employer, of the business, of the university, what areas should you as an individual look to focus on. So it might be, for example, skills around empathy, and there might be particular skills that the business has identified that everyone within the leadership program should be looking to accomplish, to practice. Like you were saying, with both the allotments and someone coming in and having to empathize with a different way of working at this charity. It's not the way that they typically work at the credit card company. Right through to things like coaching and being sort of influential and more supportive, like you are doing with your coaching. So those are sorts of behaviors that we look to identify. And then effectively what we do is we then show that particular learner based on what they are interested in. So we ask them, which of these particular areas of the cause sort of demographic are you most excited about? Are you really passionate about climate action? Are you really interested in life below water? Are you looking for or to reduce inequalities around the world? What is the thing that excites you most? Because that's what then creates a very engaging experience. We can create these projects en masse. We can put them into a simulation, but until it's real and engaging, it's not totally immersive and then consequently evocative. So what we do is we understand what the business is looking to target. We understand where the person is at that particular time. We understand what they care about, and all that results in a selection of projects being made available to this learner that allows them to go off and experience those behaviors, hopefully in doing so develop them in a way which is targeting them in the way that business wants, but with a cause that they really care about and should hopefully get as much pleasure from as you have and your colleagues.
And is it fair to say, I suppose, two things? The learning is in a virtual environment. I mean, given the global nature, have you ever got people physically in place working with the clients, or will it always be virtual?
So, I mean, it's not about a one or the other. I mean, what we do recognize, people are working from home. We want to make leadership development accessible to everyone, not those who are just in one particular area or one particular geographic, whether that's in the UK or abroad. But also, we also want to support causes that are outside of, just your local community. So what we're saying is you can't not do things in person. You can't not meet up physically. You can't sort of pick up the phone and go, hey, I'm going to pop down to Wales. It'd be great to meet up for a coffee. We're not saying that. What we're saying is that you can build upon what technology offers and use that to reach more people, to make it more accessible in a way which is hopefully beneficial for all users.
And would it be fair to say it appeals much more to younger workers, or is your experience it doesn't matter how old you are, anyone can use the platform?
I think it's very much the latter. I think what we're recognizing is that the worker has changed, and perhaps what the worker cares about, and that's across all ages, across all demographics. We are a much more aware workforce than we've ever been. We have much more power and much more influence than perhaps the workforce has ever been able to enjoy. And I think the workforce are using it for all the right reasons. They're looking for work-life balance. They're looking to support themselves with what they want to grow as opposed to what a business wants them to develop, but also aligning that to external interests, whether it is things like mental health, whether it is going back to climate change, allows for sort of much more rounded experience of work and how it can benefit people, planet, and I think profit.
Okay. And obviously, I need to ask if the corporate sponsor's paying for this, Alexander. How do they keep track of what their learners are doing? What does the platform give them in terms of so they can understand whether their population is benefiting from this volunteering?
I mean, we have a fantastic return on investment document. If you go to our website, ethicalangel.com, you can see all of that there. But in terms of what we make available is one of the benefits of technology. So technology allows us to aggregate or accumulate, a huge amount of different data points, which we can then visualize in a way which is demonstrable of the benefits. Basically, because people are doing stuff on the platform, we're able to show the sponsor at the business a huge amount of information in a very simplified way, which evidences the benefit. And that benefit is, again, across people, brand, and profit. So across people, we can see things like net promoter scoring. So the average net promoter scoring in Ethical Angel is plus 76, which is really great. Across the planet, we can see where the beneficiaries are, where the impact is, and how causes are feeding back on the support that they're being given, which is powerful, again, as an engagement tool. And then across profit, that's where we see the learning transformation. Because we are collecting information about each learner at the outset and what they're being targeted with, we can see not only how they've developed it, but what particular skills they've used, how they've gone about doing it, have they been very active, less active. Again, a huge amount of information, which is used by businesses, as I said, of all different types, employers of all different types, to get a really good sense on how much time they're saving by delivering a much more effective application, an effective application for leadership development.
And I can give evidence of the goal setting and being chased for goal settings with my coaching with my lady in Wales. So I know it works. I mentioned earlier, Alexander, that obviously it's not just for an individual. You can use it for teams. Do you want to say a little bit about how that might operate?
Sure. I mean, we are big supporters of the individual. Of course, we want to give everyone and anyone the chance to be their best selves and be who they want to be. But we also recognize that perhaps sort of a starting point for a lot of organizations is working teams. So the application supports both. The individual side is building up sort of your personal experiences, and the team is just an element of that, or the team's element of that. I mean, in terms of the technology, it's all set up. I won't go into too much detail. It's too easy to do, but it's all set up to create teams and run teams and do experiences as teams. But the benefit really comes from the feedback that each individual get who's part of the team, to be able to see how they have together contributed towards something that is engaging and valuable from a learning context.
And I'll be able to tell you more in a subsequent conversation, Great. Alexander, because I know as a team, we picked the Scouts from 1 of 3, and that's the project we're about to start.
Amazing. They're an amazing organization, the Scouts. I didn't know you were doing some work with them. That's really cool.
Okay. So Liz, again, has very helpfully said sort of why are we partnering with Ethical Angel and how we're going to use it in the leadership development programs. And again, to start with the story, I think the power is that learning in a different environment. And I'm reminded of Charles Hamdy's book, I think The Age of Unreason, yes. where he describes the scenario. And I have no idea how he did this, but he says, if you put a frog into a beaker of water and you heat the water up, even though the frog recognizes the environment in which it is swimming is changing, it doesn't jump out, it boils to death. And it's certainly my experience in business that particularly successful businesses, if we look back to things like Blockbuster and Blackberries or Nokia, all at one time market leaders, they failed to recognize the environment was changing. Blockbuster could have bought Netflix, Blackberries, they clearly had a sense of what Apple and Androids were going to do to their marketplace, but they failed to change. And so one of the key principles we think around learning is people learn most in new environments. And it's okay to do workshops and do coaching on site, but as part and parcel of our leadership programs, we always recommend to all our clients that they, as part of the program, they come with us in this journey with Ethical Angel, get the people to pick the course, because I think that's really important, but then to spend time away from the business, hopefully taking what they've learned on the program into this, as a result of developing those, what I would call learning agility, because we know in today's business environment, learning agility is critical. Do you have a comment around that, Alexander?
I think, Michael, you've explained it beautifully. Ethical Angel serves a purpose. We provide experiences for people to learn and target particular behaviors in a way which is engaging and helps causes. Where we are so excited to be working with 1080 is the topping and the tailing of those experiences, the understanding of what behaviors need to be targeted to deliver the best outcomes or to build the best leaders, as I know a lot of the work that you've done focuses on. But then also in the tailing and assessing the data, understanding what it means to each individuals and using that to iterate and develop new programs. Ethical Angel is here to provide a service. We help businesses target behaviors with the sorts of learning which is experiential and impactful, and that's why it's great to be working with consultancies such as yourselves.
Now, I don't think I asked you this question at the outset. So when was Ethical Angel founded, Alexander?
2018.
2018. So I'm going to ask you to visualize for a second. Let's go through 5 years from today. What's your vision for Ethical Angel 5 years out? What would success really look like for you?
I think to answer that question, I first got to tell you what I hope workforces or workforce learning doesn't develop into. Yeah. So I think my fear is that organizations see technology as a solution. We've gone through this incredibly challenging period where technology is being utilized more and more and more. But what I would hate is for behavior development in particular to be supported by artificial intelligence or simulation. So people walking around in virtual reality headsets, and using that to try and build up the behaviors that are so important and I fundamentally believe can only be experienced through experiences with real life. So that's my fear and what I'm campaigning against. I think there's a great role for virtual reality and simulation, but I don't think it's in behavior development. For Ethical Angel, we want to make it ever easier and more accessible for more businesses to utilize to target behaviors that they need across different elements within their organization. And in doing so, to provide this incredible, sustainable, and free resource to the organizations on the front line, making our planet better. The more businesses that sign up to Ethical Angel, the more charities that benefit. So our absolute goal for the future is to continue that growth trajectory and make it available to more organizations, both on the learning front, but also on the course front.
And of course, I would say this, wouldn't I, Alexander, as an organisation that we've signed up to your services. But I think increasingly, and very much as a function of what we've just come through, I think the establishment of mission and purpose, both organisations and individuals, is at the forefront of most organisations. I also think there's a recognition that what differentiates the average organisation from the exceptional one is the caliber of leadership, and therefore combining mission and purpose with leadership development, I think it is a great business strategy for you, Alexander. And I think I wish you luck in your journey. I hope this will be a partnership for many years, and I absolutely do believe it's one of those ideas that's the right time, because people do want to learn and develop, but they also want to make a difference. So thank you for spending your valuable time with us today. Can you tell our listeners where they can find out more about Ethical Angel? You referenced the return on investment document. How might they find out more about Ethical Angel?
Sure. So our website is ethicalangel.com. On it, you'll find more information about how we support leadership development through our learning experiences. You'll also find a resources tab with a whole range of collateral. Within that, you'll see you'll get access to our academic board. So we have a lot of people supporting Ethical Angel from the experience side. They range from professors of leadership right through to psychologists and leadership and development consultants. So there's a lot of information on the website. But of course, if anyone wants to contact me directly, it's really easy. It's alexander@ethicalangel.com.
Okay, well, thank you, Alexander. And of course, it goes without saying, if any of our clients want to talk to myself or Liz Seabag, we're very happy to set up a tripartite meeting with Alexander and his team. So thank you for your time today. Thank you, listeners, for listening. And I hope you've enjoyed the session. Oh, before I go, I was about to say goodbye. I've got 3 comments. Hang on a second. I've got Jeffrey Milton says, I can clearly see the benefit to the learner and the team. He's worked with a small number of charities with limited people resources. Do you have any examples of how that might work? And I'll come back to that. And Judith Knox says, extremely interesting. Good luck going forward. Are there any small charities you just want to quickly highlight? Thank you, Vivian.
I would say 95% of our cause membership are small charities. And when we say small, we're talking 1- and 2-person bands. I mean, the way that Ethical Angel supports that is it effectively acts as a free extension to their team, so the third person. So if one of the people within the charity recognise that there's an area they need support with, we take them through the process. So to start with, the easiest project, the simplest project to get ordered first, then we can start to make it more focused.
I know Jeffrey is very involved with opera. So arts charities, they would be welcome, would they not, Alexander?
Absolutely. I mean, there's definitely quite a lot of art charities on the system.
Okay. So thank you again, everyone, for your participation. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.